Best games to emulate on the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck is a remarkable hardware, which really set the stone for a lot of other companies to make good handhelds, even better. But that Steam Deck still has the sweet spot, and you can tell that Valve is not worried about other companies. We already know that the Steam Deck can handle modern day games, even AAA games. But in today's video, we're gonna focus more on what games can the Steam Deck emulate and what are the best games in that category. Now, of course, this is gonna be a personalized list because these are the games that I enjoy on the Steam Deck that the Steam Deck can't play natively. Through the means of EmuDeck, which is a software that you can get on the Steam Deck to emulate all of the systems that you want. PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation Portable, Nintendo GameCube, Nintendo Game Boy, even a Nintendo Switch. Those are the systems that I have on my Steam Deck, but at the same time, you can still do other systems. Nintendo Wii, Atari, Nintendo 64, and the list really goes on and on. Let me know in the comment section below, do you have a Steam Deck, or maybe you thinking about picking one up? If you want me to do a in-depth guide on how to install EmuDeck on your device, just let me know in the comment section below. So to get started, let's go ahead and start with the first system that really set Sony into the gaming world, the PlayStation 1. There were a lot of games that I played during those times, but my most enjoyed games was really just two, and that was Metal Gear. And you're gonna hear Metal Gear a lot in my emulation games. Metal Gear Solid just really hits at home for me because it was one of the games that I really enjoyed the best. Of course, it's a PlayStation 1 game, so the Steam Deck is not gonna have any problems emulating it. A lot of strategy and thinking outside the box is involved in this game. The second game on this list would be Metal Gear again, but this time the VR missions, the virtual missions. I really recommend y'all playing the Metal Gear Solid series from the beginning to the end. Of course, after Sony's success with the PlayStation 1, they made the PlayStation 2, which really set the stone for a lot of good and fan favorite games. The first game that I have on my list will be Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3. Everybody knows that this was the Dragon Ball game to go to. And after 16 years, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 4, aka Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, is in development and will most likely be released this year in 2024. The next game on this list is a racing game, and that will be Gran Turismo 3. Before Forza and all those other really good driving games came out, this was the game to go to back in the day. Racing to get money, using that money to perform upgrades on your cars, adding more and newer cars to your garage. The next two games on this list really hits home. This will be Jak and Daxter, The Precursor, and The Lost Frontier. Jak 3 was good as well, but it wasn't really one of my favorites besides these two. If you enjoy games with good stories, the Jak and Daxter series is the way to go. If you're enjoying the list so far, make sure to leave a like. Likes go a long way on this channel. Now the next game on this list is a fan favorite. That will be Lara Croft, aka Tomb Raider. All of the games are really good and they work well with EmuDeck, but I only have a 512 micro SD card, so I can't really load all of them on there. So the one that I have on here is Lara Croft Tomb Raider Anniversary. Now I told you guys Metal Gear is going to come up a lot in this video, and the next game is Metal Gear Solid 2 and Metal Gear Solid 3. Sons of Liberty or Substance and Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. If you never played Metal Gear before, this is a good time to go ahead and jump into it. Very good story, very good characters involving Solid Snake. The next game on this list is another car racing game, but it's a little bit different from Gran Turismo. This is Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition. If you really just want to cruise the streets and play a car driving game where you can do missions and drive in an open world environment, This game was really before its time. You can still customize your cars and do mini missions, upgrading your whip and taking other people's cars. Now the next 4 games on this list are really good and gives a lot of people nostalgia back from having a PlayStation 2. The games I'm talking about are Ratchet and Clank. Very good story, a lot of missions, things you can buy, upgrading weapons, collecting bolts and nuts, that's your currency in the game, and really just having a good time. Now I believe there's only 4 games on the PS2 for Ratchet and Clank. The first one, Going Commando, Size Matters, and Deadlock. But that is by no means the end of the Ratchet and Clank series. It continues on the next Sony system. But before we get into that system, I'm not even done with the PlayStation 2. The next game on the list will be Shadow of the Colossus. This is by far my most favorite game on the PlayStation 2. You are a lone person with a horse, and you pretty much go into these different spots fighting these colossal creatures. It has a really good story behind it as well. This is a most recommended game for you guys to get. Now the next game on this list is a personal favorite, and that will be Shadow the Hedgehog. I've always been a Sonic fan. Let me know in the comment section below, do you have any Sonic favorite games that you play? This game is solely based on Shadow. You can play as Sonic sometimes, but Shadow was a really good, intriguing character in the series. Another hedgehog that was created. Now the next game on this list will be Sly Cooper. If you like games where you can be very sneaky and cunning and try to get by without being detected, kind of similar to Metal Gear, but this is more of a cartoon style type game. They have more than one Sly Cooper. I believe they have 3, but of course I only have the first one. Now moving on to Sony's 3rd successful system, the PlayStation 3. The first game on this list for this particular system will be Metal Gear Rising. It's another Metal Gear game, but this time it focuses on a different character, Raiden. And this is more of a cyborg type game. You're playing as Raiden, and he has a lot of mechanical enhancements on him. And you will mostly be using a sword, not a traditional gun. This is really a recommended game for the PlayStation 3. But this game is also available on the Steam store. And the last 6 games on this list, it's all Ratchet and Clank. And the reason why is because I personally didn't get a PS3 when it first came out. I went straight to the Xbox. I didn't find out until recently that Ratchet and Clank continued a list of games on the PlayStation. It's a PlayStation exclusive game. The games are Ratchet and Clank All for One, Full Frontal Arson, Into the Nexus, A Quest, A Crack in Time, and Tools of Destruction. Now the next system I'm moving into will be the Nintendo Game Boy Advance. I have 5 games in this category. The first one is a 2-for-1 deal, which was Dragon Ball Z, The Legacy of Goku. As you can tell, I love Dragon Ball Z. I actually have 2 channels on it. The next game on this list will be Dragon Ball Z Super Sonic Warriors. It's basically a one-on-one battle. Now the third game on this list, I believe everybody has played at least once. Maybe not this particular game, but a version of this game. That would be Pokemon Emerald. It's just something about this particular game that always had me set into it. I remember staying up all night as a kid playing this game. Now the last 2 games for this category will be Sonic games. Sonic Advance 3 as well as Sonic Battle. Let me know how you like this list. Did I say some of your fan favorite games? Leave a like if you haven't already, and if you're brand new, make sure to subscribe.